Good day and welcome to the presentation of my final project. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Rachma Nurma Gupita. I would like to present my final project with untitled The Study of Turn-Taking created in Cinderella movie 2015. First, I would like to explain about the background of the study. That the conversation is a social exchange, so it can be called that when A starts a conversation, then B responds, and then A follows up, an exchange occurs. Then, in a conversation, participants speak in each sequence in a specific order. They have the opportunity to hold or deliver a dialogue. This is called turn-taking. Dialogue refers to collaborative activities involving two or more parties. So, through conversations, humans can recognize each other and recognize roles. From this, it can be concluded that dialogue consists of two or more people who obtain and exchange information. One is called the speaker, and then the other is called the listener. Then, the turn-taking mechanism aims to handle dialogue arrangements. So, the dialogue has good organizational skills if we follow the turn-taking mechanism. Then, film is a drama or story with real-time images, which means that the film is played in certain scenes, setting, and topic of discussion. That's why this film can be used as an effective medium for conveying information and deserves to be studied further in turn-taking analysis. Next, objectives of the study in this research. First, to explain the mechanism of turn-taking occur in the Cinderella film. Second, to examine how the turn-taking mechanism occurs in conversations in Cinderella films. For the scope of the study in this research, first, to provide information and contribution for language science students, especially English, to learn language in the field of linguistics, especially turn-taking. Then second, it's hoped that this research can help to identify and understand the form and type of turn-taking mechanism in a work, namely film. In analyzing the data, I follow Sudaryanto model of analysis in this study. The observation method was used to collect data. This method is called listening method. First, I observed the film of Cinderella 2015 with watch it via online in Netflix from begin till the end. Second, to get the data, I re-recorded the film and the story between the characters that contain the turn-taking mechanism in the film Cinderella 2015. I record it from a movie I watched on Netflix with my cell phone. The third stage is transmission of oral data in written form. The transcription includes all the words in the film of Cinderella 2015 that conducted turn-taking mechanism. After collecting data, entering data into data cards, and searching and analyzing some data one by one, this is based on turn-taking mechanism that occurs in the film Cinderella 2015 using dialogue analysis according to Jacob L. May. Theory turn-taking mechanism by Jacob L. May. First, taking the floor. It means that participants can take the initiative to start a conversation or suggest topics to be discussed in the conversation. The types are, first, starting up, meaning to start refers to the beginning of the conversation. It can be done with an uncertain prefix and a clear start. Second, taking over. Speakers who answer the previous speaker are called takers. And connected by loan words or links. The takeover strategy will occur with the next speaker if the next speaker accepts what the previous speaker said and evaluates the conversation before continuing. Third is interruption. This means that the speaker does not want to wait for the TRP. It can be said that the current speaker speaks when the last speaker has not finished his or her speech. Fourth is overlaps. Overlapping means that participants are taking the same time. Next is holding the floor. Holding the floor means to carry on talking. The participant who holds the floor has the right to bring conversation as well as he or she wants. And then, yielding the floor. Yielding the floor means to turn to the next speaker. Turn can use questions and statements. After analyzing the data, I found some turn-taking mechanism in dialogue between the character of film Cinderella 2015. In types of taking the floor, there are 3 data found for starting up, 12 data found for interruption, and 8 data found for overlapping. Then, in types of holding the floor, I found 3 data and 18 data found in types of yielding the floor. So, total data that I found for this research is 44 data. Let's discuss with this data that I found. First, taking the floor for starting up. In this data, Ella's father is the first speaker to speak with a clear start. Ella's father is a good father because at the beginning of the conversation with Ella, he tried to pretend to be looking for Ella and made Ella happy because he met her father who had just returned. And Ella answered hesitantly starting. It was marked by a pause or a moment's pause before answering because Ella wasn't sure if her father had returned home. In this case, the beginning of the conversation above is a simple conversation from the movie category. Ella's father only gave entertainment sentence for her children with the sentence, "Where are my girls, my beautiful girl?" followed by smile. Next is interruption. In terms of data, King didn't wait for the Grand Duke's TRP, and an interruption occurred. The conversation tells about the Grand Duke who is convincing the prince to immediately choose a woman to marry and not just pick a woman because they are from a small kingdom who must have the best queen. So as not to overthrow their kingdom, King took a turn without waiting for TRP from the Grand Duke to help convince the prince that King wanted the prince and the kingdom to be safe by choosing the best woman to accompany the prince. Grand Duke wants to continue his explanation as seen from the word "and it's a," which he has not finished, but King took the turn without waiting for the TRP of the Grand Duke, so the Grand Duke did not continue his explanation. Next is overlapping. In this data, Prince asks with falling intonation at the end of the sentence to invite Ella to dance because he is doubtful whether Ella will accept his request or not. And Prince is still nervous about Ella's arrival. The prince who has been waiting for a long time, making the prince ask first in a low tone, and Ella is also nervous and surprised because she doesn't expect to meet again who also speaks and then both speak in a time together, and it's called overlapping. Overlapping sometimes occurs in every conversation, and in this case, overlapping doesn't disturb the way of conversation. Second is holding the floor. In the data, Ella's father started a conversation by asking a question about the distribution of rooms of his wife and two stepdaughters, and their mother explained with an arrogant face how she cared for and provided sufficient facilities for her daughter without any flaws. And Ella's father went on to ask about the comfort of his two stepdaughters if they have to share a room. Stepmother answers after TRP, and both of them view each other, making a pause. A moment later, stepmother takes the turn again, or it's called holding the floor. Keep the turn before Ella's father take the turn to speak. Ella's father felt the conversation was not convincing, so continued the conversation even though at the end of the discussion was interrupted by stepmother. So far, this conversation is flowing well. Last is yielding the floor. In this data, Ella gave the turn by asking a question and the intonation fell at the end of the sentence. This shows that Ella clearly gave the turn to Mom, which helps the conversation turn out well and makes the conversation smooth. The intonation can be increased or decreased to indicate that the next speaker has been determined. The discussion tells the life of little Ella with her mother, who really loves animals. Ella's mother never gave up to answer Ella's questions happily and made Ella feel happy. As a curious child, Ella's mother did not hesitate to ask Ella some questions again, and Ella knew when to talk and when to listen. The conclusion for this research is first, the conversation strategy in the turn-taking mechanism of Cinderella 2015 covers three main points, namely taking the floor, holding the floor, and yielding the floor. Second, the research conducted in this study in the film Cinderella 2015 shows that yielding the floor are used more dominant in conversation. This means that each character knows when are their turn to be a listener or when to be a speaker. That's all from me. Thank you for the attention.